How is it going, my dudes? Welcome back to another Kingdom of Heroes video. Okay, so for today we're going to talk a little bit about something that is very important, especially for every new player. So the question is, where do you level up your units? Okay, so we all have a ton of units that we want to build. Maybe not everyone, okay? Probably if you just started the game, you don't have any heroes apart from your single net 5 that you have just pulled. But that begs the question, so where do you get your net 5 from a 5 stars to a 6 stars? Okay, and I'm going to help you to answer that question for today. Of course, this may not be the perfect place to grind, but I do have my reasons why this specific location is the best. And the reason why you want to get yourself to 6 stars as fast as possible, there are several reasons for this, okay, but the main ones that come to my mind is number one, it increases the power of your team. Okay, so this is going to be really important, especially if you want to cover the higher floors of the rune dungeons or the higher floors of the awakening dungeons really quickly, and especially if you want to excel in the early game PvP as soon as possible. You want to have like the 1 or 2 heroes that are really strong, and then they're going to be able to carry you for most content. Okay, so generally speaking, you want your trainer, your grinder, your bus driver, whatever you call it, you want these specific heroes to be high level. So for me, it's going to be my Ingwe. I want him to be level 70 at 6 stars so that he can cover me for all kinds of content. Okay, he can cover me for not only just the grinding phase, he can cover me for the rune farming and the awakening material farming as well as PvP. So this is going to be really important. So right from the early game, it's highly recommended that you don't try to grind runes that much, because the game actually gives you a ton of runes anyway. So you want to avoid farming runes. Maybe awakening materials, yes, but most of your energy, most of your AP should go towards farming your levels, okay, getting yourself to a 6 stars and trying to get yourself up to 70. So when that is done, you would have a stronger foundation for your early game, and then therefore you'd be able to progress. So without further ado, let's move on to where I like to grind my EXP. I should state that this is where I find it the most efficient. So if you have something else better, do let me know down in the comments, okay? But for me, I prefer going 7-1, currently on hard. Okay, if I can go for Conqueror, I would definitely go for Conqueror, but I have not unlocked it yet. But before I want to hit Conqueror, I still want to get my Ingwe up to 6 stars, and then I will use him to grind Conqueror 7-1. I feel like this is the best for one simple reason. If you enter this, they're all mono elements, okay? So they're all single type. That can be really useful, especially if you want to plan out who you want to use to hunt these guys really quickly. You can use like water type heroes, and then they're going to be able to do a lot more damage onto them. Or you can probably use, like for me, Ingwe, so that he can actually attract all the hits, because Ingwe has a passive that allows him to counter attack. So with that, he gets all the hit, he gets all the counter attack. So that's going to be quite beneficial in a sense. But the most important thing, okay, to me is that they are all melee types. Okay, so because they're all melee types, they're all going to cluster around you, they're all going to try to run towards you. So they're going to get themselves into a formation where it's just very easy for you to drop an AoE and do a ton of damage. So I will talk a little bit more about like who are the heroes that I personally feel like would fit this role really well, a farming role. And hopefully this gives you more ideas on like which heroes you want to aim for. Be it your 5-star starter unit or maybe like a 4-star selection. Do note that while it's not a necessity, it's highly recommended that you drop an Exp Booster while you're farming EXP that way, okay? So for me, I'm currently on a plus 200% Exp boost for the next 3 days, so as such, I'm just gonna go hard on an Exp grinding during this period of time. Let's definitely get my Ingwe up to 6 stars. So he's gonna be like the first 6 star I have. Hopefully, I have enough materials over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Okay, so with him, with this Arthur going up to... Is he Arthur? I believe it's Arthur, yes. With this Arthur going up to 5 stars, that should be my 5th and final hero that I need for this to happen. So let's see. 1, 2, 3... Oh, okay, I forgot to unlock those guys. Okay, I actually did not unlock... I mean, I did not lock them. They were actually unlocked. But because they were stuck in one of my request missions, which is this over here, so as such, I wasn't able to add them in. So do take note of your materials that you are using for your request missions. Make sure that, you know, they are not being requested. They're not sent out on a mission. Okay, so there you go. That will be my first 6 stars. And of course, I think we should have some EXP transfers. Do we? Yes, okay, we have a few. It's not much, okay, he's level 16, but at least he's gonna get his stats back up to somewhere useful again. So with him being at 6 stars, he's going to very easily become my next powerful grinder. That's because of his skill kit, okay? So because of his skill, he is actually my most favorite pick. It's not just because of what people are saying about Ingwe being like top tier and all that kind of stuff. From what I've seen in his skill kit, he is exceptional. Okay, so let's take a look at his first skill. He does an AoE damage around him on his first skill, which is really good for the map that I was referring to, 7-1. They're all melee, they'll all come around him, they will all pick on him, and as such, whenever he drops a normal attack, he's gonna hit everything around him. So that's gonna be really, really awesome. And not to mention, this skill also scales off his max HP, so the more HP you give him, the tankier he's gonna be and the more damage he's gonna do as well. So he's like kind of like a bruiser, sort of. And then look at his second skill over here. It's the same kind of idea. It's damage all around him, but in this time around, it actually widens to a really, really huge area. And then as you can see, every successful hit has a 30% chance to apply continuous recovery on yourself for 2 turns. So if you hit like 5 enemies around you, you have a lot of recovery effects on yourself. Okay, I mean, there is a 30% chance for it to happen, but generally speaking, you're gonna have like at least 2 to 3 regen buffs on you at any one time. Okay. And then Nature's Paradox, this skill itself, the cooldown is reduced by 1 turn for every successful hit. So if you hit 5 targets, you're going to immediately be able to use Nature's Paradox again. So in the perfect world, you're going to be able to spam Nature's Paradox every turn or every other turn. That's going to be really, really efficient in giving you faster runs. So that's why I really enjoy using him. And thirdly, King's Wrath. Ingwe's, well, the accuracy doesn't really matter over there, but additionally, Ingwe has a 35% chance to counter attack when receiving an enemy's melee attack. Okay, so this is a passive itself. When you receive a melee attack, right, from 7-1, you actually have a 35% chance to counter attack, and then if you counter attack, you will use your first skill to counter attack, which actually damages everyone in that area. So many of the time, what happens is I counter attack and I clear off the mobs without even taking a turn. And then finally, Power Rejuvenation. This is his Awaken skill. If Ingwe doesn't have any active debuffs at the end of the turn, which he will not on 7-1, he's a real good, powerful healing machine on his own. You don't even need Vampire Runes on him. He can heal enough to sustain himself during the farming phase. Okay, so if Ingwe is below 30% HP, he gains increased defense for 1 turn. Even more defense, even more reason that he's going to be able to survive. Of course, there is a 50-turn time limit on your game, on your round, so as such, you do need to do enough damage, not just survive. But Ingwe does a pretty good job at that. Okay, so before I go into the rest of the heroes that I feel like are really good for farming, I want to specify that it is really important that for your first Net 5 pick, you go for one hero that excels in PvE, rather than one that actually excels in PvP. Okay, this is a very common knowledge in games like these. You want to have a hero that either helps you to farm really, really efficiently, grind the mobs really fast, or number 2, probably help you in a very advantageous way. For example, in rune farming. Okay, so there are some specific Net 5 heroes that are going to excel, particularly in rune farming. So those could be quite essential as well, because runes are really, really important in this game. The first of my additional picks, that would be Morgan. Okay, Morgan is extremely useful. Okay, I have tried using her before. She is remarkable. Her main selling point is that she has 2 AoEs over here, 2 really huge AoEs. I will show you the skill target area that actually guarantees critical hits. So from the start, you don't even need to drop critical rate stats on her. You can just go all out on attack and crit damage, which is very easy to get, and you would be able to do a ton of damage from the get-go. So with these 2 AoEs, she's going to be able to take out a lot of mobs really, really quickly. And not to mention her passive over here. Okay, when you awaken her, what happens is she cannot be provoked by the enemy. That's number 1. That's kind of useful for some of the content, okay? And also, what's more important is, for the number of surviving allies excluding self, Morgan gains the following effects for 1 turn at the end of her turn. If there are 3 or more allies alive, you gain a shield 10% of your max HP. If there are 2 or less alive, you gain a shield worth 20% of your max HP and increased speed. So if you're going to bring like fodder units that you're just trying to level up, they're probably going to fall off really quickly. And with that, she's going to be able to have this shield on herself every single turn, which is going to be very, very effective for farming because the sustain is just so high. Another really good pick is, of course, Ifrit, okay, because Ifrit has AoE, lots of AoE, okay, so she has Blade of Hellfire and Flame Slash as well. Let's take a look at the AoE over here. It's like a semicircle over here. and a bit of Hellfire, a ring around her. Okay, so the thing is she doesn't have any self-sustain. Okay, she doesn't have self-heals or anything like that. However, she does have this really interesting passive over here. Ifrit holds a blade with prolonged battle. After a fixed number of turns, Ifrit gains a buff for 1 turn at the start of every single turn that she takes. So after turn number 3, she gains increased attack. After turn number 7, she additionally gains increased crit rate. This is going to be very effective in improving her DPS output while the battle progresses. And the thing is, you're definitely going to progress because this is in PvE content, right? You're going to take a lot of turns just to kill off all the mobs. And with that, she's definitely going to get all these sweet buffs. Vampire runes work really well on her because she's going to be able to do like lots of AoE damage on the enemies around you, and at the same time heal herself back for all the damage that she has done. She's going to be a really decent farmer unit for you. Hotaru is not a bad pick as well because she has so much AoE. Okay, she has 1 AoE over here, 1 AoE over here, 1 AoE over here. Really, really awesome. So when the enemies try to chase after her, she's just going to move back 1 step, drop in AoE, and do a lot of damage to clear them up. Okay, but that's not the only reason why she's good. She definitely lacks sustain in this sector, but you can always make up for it by giving her vampire runes, okay? But what's so important is that she has a fire attack leader skill, which is going to be so useful beyond just grinding itself, because a lot of the fire type units are super meta in this game. You have Lilith, she's okay. Lilith is okay, but you have Morgan as well, and then you have Ifrit. That's just to name a few, okay? And then with her leader skill here, which is very hard to find, fire type attack bonus, very hard to find. This is a really good pick as well. I really approve of her, and I think that she is quite viable. Muspel is another excellent choice because he not only has an attack leader like I mentioned before, but if you take a look at Inferno, at level 4, you actually reduce its cooldown by 1 turn. So he has a 2 turns cooldown. So if you use this skill, you need to wait 2 turns for it to cool down. But the thing is, you have Mind Focus over here, which what it does is focus to collect energy, resetting Inferno's cooldown. Additionally, your attack is increased for 1 turn and you gain an action opportunity. So what happens is, you're going to drop an Inferno first, and then while it's on cooldown, you're going to go into Mind Focus, reset Inferno's cooldown, drop another AoE. Really, really awesome. This is the AoE over here. It is big damage, okay? So Muspel is going to be quite useful in this sense. And as you can see, I've pretty much specified a lot of fire type heroes on who's good to grind with. This is just how the game has been for me since. It seems like fire type units are really, really exceptional. They seem to have an added advantage, but that's not to say that the other elements are not that good. There are a lot of them that are actually very good in PvP as well, or in other kinds of content. So like for example, Bartholomew, super good for PvP, definitely top tier. But what I'm talking about right now is just for EXP farming, okay? So with that said, that's the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, do let me know down in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you have not already done so. And as always, I will see you in the next video.